Okay, I'm sure you've heard this one by now. On Thursday, President Donald Trump denied a report in the Atlantic magazine that he had disparaged U.S. service members killed in battle and chose to skip a ceremony honoring veterans. Speaking to reporters after returning from a rally in Pennsylvania, the president said the report was a disgraceful situation. Take a listen.
Everyone knows it's totally false. General Keith Kellogg, who was a highly respected man, couldn't believe when he heard it. And he knows everything about all of it. And to think that I would make statements negative to our military and our fallen heroes when nobody's done what I've done with the budgets, with the military budgets, with getting pay raises for our military. It is a disgraceful situation.
Okay, so the Atlantic sticks by their story. The AP has backed it up, and several people close to this have said that he has said similar things in the past, that people who died in battle were cowards and other things. It's been backed up by several people. So, Michael, you're up first on this one.
Well, and look, it's just a matter of time, and maybe by the time this show airs, it's going to come out and people are going to corroborate this. Is there anybody out there who doesn't really believe Donald Trump said this? Of course he did. We all heard what he said about John McCain. I mean, this is Donald Trump. He is a liar. He's lying to us about this. He told us he was going to pick the very best people. The very best people are the ones who call him out, and he says they were dirtballs. This man's a liar, and to go after the human beings who have the courage to volunteer and serve in our military and ultimately potentially give their lives for us like this, we've seen this before with this guy.
Now, John, these are pretty heavy accusations, shall we say, against a president, right? And I know a lot of people are immediately going to say, you know, this is to derail his campaign. It's the media out to get him. But, you know, something like this is nothing to joke about. This is pretty serious stuff here, because this is the guy that sends troops into battle.
Right. And, you know, I didn't serve in the armed forces, but I have profound respect for those who do, and profound empathy for people who lose family members in the service of our country. If those statements that were attributed to the president were things he actually said, then it's despicable. Having said that, it would seem to me that if you're going to make those kinds of accusations about the president of the United States, you shouldn't be afforded the opportunity to do that anonymously. If people that want to claim that they heard these things need to come forward with under their own name and make the charge. And until I see that, it's very hard for me to believe that these statements are factually true. We know that the trip to the military base was postponed, was not done because of the weather. How do we know that? John Bolton's book, no fan of Donald Trump. And so, you know, I think there's reason to cast doubt upon the legitimacy, the veracity of these charges.
John, we all lived through this president in 2015 calling John McCain a loser because he got captured, a man who spent time as a prisoner of war. I would be willing to give this guy the benefit of the doubt, but come on, history. He's got it in writing. He said it. We can show it.
You know,
well, I'll tell you this about the McCain quote, because when I heard that quote back in 2015, I remember vividly texting someone, it might have even been you, and I said, "Well, this guy, he just lost the primary. He just lost the nomination." Well, it didn't happen, and I would be willing to bet that of the people that support Donald Trump out there, and there are millions of them, that these quotes are not going to affect them one way or the other. I do find them despicable. If true, though.
And what does that say about those people? I mean, these are men and women who've given their lives for our country. I'm no fan of John McCain. I worked my tail off against him. But I would have never have called him a coward or a loser the way this president did. And to watch people who have typically been the strongest defenders of the military make up excuses for this guy, it's getting ridiculous.
Here's one of the comments I made to a friend in the news business, and maybe it's a reflection on the news business. And I said, and I said this when President Obama was in office too. I said, when everything's a crisis, nothing's a crisis. And I mean that because the media is so quick to label everything such a big deal. When there is maybe a big deal, no one pays attention anymore, because this may not even be a story next week, because we don't know what a big deal is anymore. So when there is something that maybe needs to be investigated, it just comes and goes in the wind. Does that make sense? Because
Yeah,
everything
totally.
has been
Look,
made
and this-
such a big deal with Trump, and everything was such a big deal with Obama, that nothing becomes a big deal anymore, because everything is the biggest story under the sun, that nothing's a big deal anymore. Does that? I don't know if that makes
John
sense,
Brown,
but
this was predicted. We need to look no further than the 2015 frontrunner for the Republicans in Jeb Bush. When he was the governor of Florida, he said, look, you elect a chaos candidate, you're going to have a chaos president. No truer words have been spoken. We have been living in complete chaos since the man put his hand on the Bible.
To your point, Brown, this
Yeah.
is about the media, and they're calling everything a crisis. This is like that story of the boy who said talked about the wolf. Remember that guy?
yeah.
Eventually, when the wolf comes, nobody believes it, and the media is guilty broadly of blowing things out of proportion. And that does kind of take away from significant stories that need to be covered.
Right, and I think it happens a lot. By the way, we're not going to have time to get to the very latest on the coronavirus. Everybody okay with that? Say aye.
Aye.
Save it for next week. All right, still to come. We've heard so much, right? I think we're okay this week not getting to that story. All right, there's not a live look. That's our Drone Fox, BMW West St. Louis Drone Fox over Clayton. We'll have final thoughts coming up on Hancock and Kelley.